Jamie?
I'm just hooking on my latest invention, sea legs. Basically, I just kind of lean on them and they kind of make it so I don't feel the motion so much. You know, since we are going to be exploring the Great Lakes, these are going to prevent me from getting seasick.
Cool, well, let's go.
All right. I know they're heavy. This episode of CG Kids, we travel our way around Canada's Great Lakes.
Our first stop is Kingston, where we meet up with 13-year-old Caitlin Turnstall, who literally lives on the water.
Then we head to the shores of Lake Ontario to find out why some beaches are polluted.
In Jay's Geology, I find out what happens when lakes don't have oxygen.
They're lakes, they're great, they're Erie, Superior, Ontario, Michigan, and Huron CG Kids. Get it? Huron CG Kids.
Canadian geographic test.
We're here on Lake Ontario, one of the 5 Great Lakes. They're called great with good reason. They're some of the biggest lakes in the world, and they've had a huge impact on Canada.
The first and most obvious use is transportation. The Great Lakes have always been an important transportation system because you can go from here all the way to the Atlantic Ocean.
This helped make the Great Lakes region of southern Ontario Canada's most populated area. But there's a lot more to Great Lakes than just cities. There's wildlife, beaches, fish, wetlands.
None of which we're gonna see at this rate.
We will! Come on, we just need a bigger boat.
North America's 5 Great Lakes also form the largest system of fresh surface water on the Earth. And this incredible chain of large lakes is almost dead center in the middle of the continent. Canada shares Lake Superior, Lake Huron, Lake Erie, and Lake Ontario with the United States. Lake Michigan is entirely in the United States. Together, these lakes cover around 244,000 square kilometers. The interesting thing about these lakes is that they're all connected together by waterways. So being able to travel from one lake to the next was pretty important to Canada's early people. It helped them get to the interior of Canada. But the only problem getting from Lake Ontario to Lake Erie was right here, a huge waterfall. At 54 meters high, Niagara Falls was a huge obstacle in your travel plans. Imagine coming across this powerful force in your little canoe. But in 1829, a canal was dug through the land, bypassing the falls and connecting Lakes Ontario and Erie. Today, this canal is around 43.5 kilometers long. The opening of canals and development of the St. Lawrence Seaway helped not just with travel, but with shipping goods. The 1,287-kilometer-long St. Lawrence River brings boats in from the Atlantic Ocean through the Great Lakes. You can see how many large cities in Canada have developed along the Great Lakes. This area is actually Canada's most populated region. Jamie and Edie are here in the city of Kingston. It is the gateway between the St. Lawrence River and the Great Lakes. Let's hope Jamie's sea legs can convert to land legs.
We are here in the city of Kingston, one of the oldest cities in Ontario. It's been around since as far back as 1673.
Kingston at one time was so central to the comings and goings in early Canada that it was actually the capital city for a short time in the 1800s.
Wow. Well, what a perfect place to begin our Great Lakes exploration.
I thought we were going to go to 13-year-old Caitlin Tunstall's house.
Yeah, we are.
By boat?
Hi, this is my house.
That's your house?
Hi, you must be Caitlin.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Edie.
Jamie, hello.
Would you like to come on?
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely. Oh, you've got a dog.
Wow.
Hey.
A big dog.
Wow, and does she come sailing with you? Does she live on the boat?
Yeah.
So how long you been living on a boat?
Almost 2 years.
All year round?
Yeah.
Even in winter?
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you can do on a boat?
Well, I kayak, I read, I do the internet, I watch TV, I sail on a laser, which is a small sailboat.
You have internet on the boat? How do you have internet on a boat?
My dad installed an internet connection in the marina building, so we can get internet here, but when we move around, we can't.
So what are some of the advantages of living on a boat?
Well, your house can like move.
That's pretty cool.
And in the summertime, we can just go to an island to swim.
Can we see more of the inside?
Yeah.
Hi!
Hello!
I'll chuck it down there.
Thank you. You'll see Caitlin's mom.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Come on in.
Wow!
Come and sit down.
Thank you.
Very comfy cozy.
Can you tell me a little bit about the layout down here?
There's the kitchen over there. This is our dining room, living room. And then that's my mom's room in the bow. And then there's the shower and my brother's room, and my room, and then the bathroom.
And what do your friends think of the fact that you live on a boat?
My friends think it's cool. Some of them don't believe in me.
We've even sent photographs into school so she can actually show somebody that that's where I actually live.
Do you ever have any sleepovers?
Yeah, I've had some of my friends over.
And how many people can you fit into your room?
Just one, because my bed was originally a double bunk. They can just sleep beside where I sleep.
Does Pepper sleep with you guys?
No.
Of course, to live on a boat, you have to know a few things about a boat, like how to keep your balance while stepping over your large German Shepherd.
And this is the bow of the boat. It just means the front.
Okay, what's the back of the boat called?
The back of the boat is the stern.
Stern.
And that's one of the sails. How many sails on the boat?
There's two. That's the Genoa and that's the mainsail.
Wow, it looks really big.
Yeah, it is. It's huge. My dad taught me this knot. It's called a bowline, and it's to hold like the dinghy onto the boat, 'cause otherwise it'll just float away. So you make a hole, hold it with 2 fingers, you bring it round. The rabbit comes up through the hole, it goes around the tree, and then it goes back down the hole.
That is pretty cool.
I'll show you a complex one. Okay, there you go. Okay, go for it. I don't know.
Thanks so much, Caitlin, for the tour.
Excuse us, Pepper. Excuse us. We're leaving.
Maybe next time we can actually go sailing when the weather gets better.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
kidding.
okay.
Bye.
Okay, guys, it's triviography time.
Should I say-ish what the word is?
What Jamie finds so amusing is that today's triviography word is seiches.
Seiche?
And it's not a large fish discovered in Canada's Great Lakes.
And it's not something you wear on your best dress.
Ooh, this is the best seiche I've ever bought.
Tag, you're it.
Hang on for the answer. Don't sway the bridge! That's the clue, guys. Jamie! One thing about Canada's biggest cities being built around the Great Lakes is that a beach is always nearby.
Like right here in Hamilton, Ontario, we have a prime spot on the beach where we can enjoy the waters of Lake Ontario. And you know what? It's not even crowded. Woo! Last one in is a rotten egg.
No, wait,
Hang on,
Jamie.
guys, hang on. We really shouldn't go swimming unless we know the water's safe. And the health department has had to close this beach quite often this summer.
Why? Because of sharks?
No sharks. Bacteria.
Ew.
How do you know there's bacteria in there?
Well, we do water sampling and we test for that bacteria because we really don't see any sources of sewage here on this beach at all. Come on down the beach, I'll show you how we do it.
Great.
All right.
Now this water in the hole here is some of the most contaminated water we ever find around here.
And what would it be contaminated with?
E. coli.
E. coli? What can you tell us about that?
Well, E. coli is what's in poop. And we use E. coli as an indicator of whether there's any poop around.
They believe that the E. coli found in the water comes from goose poop. That's because when they test the water further offshore, they find there's less E. coli than the water at the beach.
The goose poo. To do a good test of the water, Murray has to go out into the lake, and he uses some pretty cool devices.
Like this seiches disc. It's lowered into the water just until you can't see it anymore, and then the depth is measured.
All right, so what did you find?
I found that it went all the way up to here.
To 2 meters. So that's as far as we can see this white disc in the water, just 2 meters.
That's right. After that, it kind of disappeared.
That's right, it disappears. And that's our initial goal for the quality of the water here in Hamilton Harbor. Eventually, we want that to be 3 meters or even better.
Another device used to test the water is called the Van Doren sampling bottle.
The problem we have is we need a sample at a certain depth in the water. So not just at the surface, but sometimes as far as maybe 100 meters below the surface. So when we figure this is at the right depth based on the marks on the rope, we send this down the rope here, and it causes these little things to close like that.
Now we have a good sample to take to the lab.
Okay, and who's got that water sample from the beach? Oh, goodness.
There you go.
No. You're just kidding, right?
Yes, just kidding. Just kidding, of course.
All right. We have to find out if that's going to be safe at all. So how we're going to do that is with this Coley plate test here. It's going to, in the end, tell us how many E. coli are in the water. What it is, there's a whole bunch of little cells here. They're full of growth medium or food for the bacteria. So the ones that have bacteria in them are going to change color. And then we pour the water in like this.
And what color will they change into?
They're going to change blue. Put the lid on, and then we have to put them in the incubator. They're going to take about 24 hours.
Wow.
24
It takes that long
hours.
to do the test. So let's put that in the incubator, and we'll come back and see how
Into the incubator.
Hey guys, wake up! The samples are ready.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, look at this. This one here turned all blue. That's the sample from the hole on the beach. But this one looks pretty good. There's a few E. coli there, but very, very few. So that water is probably meeting the guidelines and safe to swim.
Edie, we can go swimming! Let's go!
I'm right behind you. Hey guys, do you remember the triviography question?
What is a seiche?
I didn't hear you. What did you say, Ish?
I said, what is it? Oh, ha, ha, ha. Okay, Jay. What do you have to say about that?
Seiche. This is actually a French term referring to an exposed bottom of a lake, but it also refers to something that happens every day on the Great Lakes. A seiche is when swaying occurs within an enclosed body of water, kind of like water sloshing in a bathtub. It's thought that seiches are caused by a sudden change in atmospheric pressure, fast-moving storms, or strong winds changing direction.
And now it's time for everybody's favorite game show, Bucket O Fun, with your host, Elmo!
Welcome to Bucket O Fun!
Yeah!
And now let's meet our first contestants, Jimmy and Edie. Are you guys ready?
I think so! Yeah!
Okay, first the rules of the game. I will ask you questions about the Great Lakes. You raise your flags to answer, and if you get them right, you gain points. But if you get them wrong, a bucket of Great Lakes water will be dumped on your head. Okay. First question. What is the most southern point of land in Canada, and what Great Lake is it on? Jamie.
Point Bealey!
Correct! And what lake is it on?
Ontario?
Oh, I'm sorry. The correct answer is Lake Erie. I guess it's time for Bucket of Fun! Here is the Bucket of Fun, the Bucket of Fun, the Bucket
Pelee, the southernmost point in Canada, is located on Lake Erie and protected by Point Pelee National Park of Canada. It's famous for both birds and butterflies, mainly because it's the shortest route across the Great Lakes on their migration south.
Next question. Name one type of climate that can be found around the Great Lakes. Edie.
Microclimate.
That is correct, Edie. You gain 10 points.
One area between Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, often referred to as the Niagara Fruit Belt, has a microclimate due to the sheltering effect of the Niagara Escarpment. The climate here, along with the rich soil, gives this area some of the best agricultural farmland around.
Next question. True or false? The Great Lakes are home to the largest freshwater island in the world. Jamie?
True!
Correct. Now what lake is it on?
Why is it my question still? Shouldn't it be the other person's? Wait, okay! Lake Huron, Georgian Bay!
No, correct. And what is the name of that island?
Wait, why am I getting more questions?
Time's up. Bucket of fun!
I was just...
The largest freshwater island in the world is Manitoulin Island. It sits between Lake Huron and Georgian Bay and is 160 kilometers long and contains over 100 different lakes.
Last question. What made the Great Lakes the shape they are today? Jamie?
Water.
That's a bucket of fun!
The correct answer is glaciers.
That's correct, Edie. 20 points. And to help explain the answer is Jay.
About 80,000 years ago, the area where the Great Lakes are today was covered in a thick sheet of ice. This was known as the Wisconsin Ice Age. As the Earth started to slowly warm up, ice glaciers, some of them 2,000 meters thick, began to retreat across the land. Imagine that this frozen cup of water and stones is a glacier. They picked up and dropped off rocks and sand deposits as they traveled. Their incredible weight leveled hills and carved out the basins for the Great Lakes. As the ice continued to melt, it filled the basins with water and created a number of lakes. Of course, once the weight of all that ice was lifted, the land began to slowly rise, creating 5 separate lakes.
Well, thank you very much. That's our show. Now let's check the scores. Edie has 30 points and Jamie 0. Well, that means that Edie is today's winner. And now for your prize. It's a bucket of fun! Yeah! It's a bucket of fun, the bucket of fun, the bucket of fun for you and me. It's the bucket of fun, for the one who won.
This lake, trees, bushes, grass, and animals, and myself all have something in common. We all need oxygen to survive. That's because oxygen is necessary for most life on Earth. Oxygen also sustains life underwater. Fish have gills that allow them to take in microscopic bubbles of oxygen in the water. It's actually dissolved oxygen, kind of like stirring a spoonful of sugar into some tea. The Great Lakes, like all lakes, get their supply of oxygen in a variety of ways. Wind blowing across the surface mixes the air into the water. Also, through a process known as photosynthesis, aquatic plants produce oxygen for the lake. But sometimes oxygen is used up faster than it can be replenished. This can result in the lake becoming anoxic. This refers to the absence of dissolved oxygen in water. Fish and other aquatic life forms can suffocate and die. Let's go check out some of the conditions that lead to a lake becoming anoxic. Lack of oxygen in the Great Lakes is a problem in the summer when temperatures are really warm. That's because water in the lakes will separate into 2 layers. I've colored this hot water red, and you can see how when I add it to the cooler water, it remains near the surface. That's because it's less dense or lighter than the colder water. So during the summer, the water in the top layer mixes with the air from the surface. But since the layers don't mix easily, it's more difficult for fresh oxygen to reach the lake's bottom layer. You can imagine how a fish feels. It's too hot at the surface, but he can't breathe at the lower level. Oxygen can also get used up fast. One way is when too much organic matter gets into the lake, like runoff from agriculture or waste from industries. Organic waste also contains high levels of phosphorus. This causes excessive levels of algae to grow. There are tiny microorganisms in lakes that help get rid of organic waste by decomposing it, but sometimes their work is cut out for them. This milk represents the organic matter. In this jar, I'll mix some yeast with 40 milliliters of water. This will be my microorganisms or decomposers. This glass of water represents my lake. This test tube contains mostly water and a couple of drops of milk. This one is half milk and half water. This one is just milk. These 3 test tubes represent 3 different lakes with different levels of organic matter in them. This is methylene blue. It's a chemical that loses its blue color when no more oxygen is present. I'm adding 3 drops to each different milk mixture and then shaking it up a bit. Now I'll add my yeast mixture or decomposers to each test tube. Let's see how hard they work. The methylene blue in the tube containing the milk-only mixture lost its color in 2 minutes and 5 seconds. The half and half mixture changed in 2 minutes and 51 seconds, and the mostly water took 5 minutes and 38 seconds. So even though the decomposers were working hard, if there was too much organic matter, the oxygen was used up faster. I guess my little cousin's a good example of this. When he holds his breath, he turns blue.
A fantastic fact about Canada's Great Lakes is that every year their beaches get a good cleaning thanks to almost 10,000 volunteers across Canada who participate in the Great Canadian Shoreline Cleanup. The Vancouver Aquarium Conservation in Action works in conjunction with the International Coastal Cleanup to fill almost 3,000 bags with garbage from our oceans, waterways, and lakes. This event is held not only to clean up aquatic habitats and to restore the environment, but to make people aware of how much litter is found on our shores. The most common debris has been cigarette butts, just under 60,000. It can actually take up to 12 years for a cigarette butt to biodegrade. So let's hear it for the Great Canadian Shoreline Cleanup!
Hey, Jamie, this package came for you.
Oh, good.
What is it?
I ordered new and improved sea legs from the internet.
These are seal eggs, not sea legs.
Oh no, I must have typed it wrong. Hey, wait a minute. Seals don't lay eggs.
Oh, wait a minute. They have a chocolate seal inside each egg.
Oh, hey! Yummy! You want some?
Yes.
And you know what? My old sea legs didn't go to complete waste. I sold them to the captain of a ship for an anchor.
Aha, cool.
Hey guys, do you remember that?
It's a boo-boo!
Next question. You guys know your lines?
No.
What? Wait, why am I getting more questions? When this is not right.
This.
No, come on. I was just a